Naming binary ionic compounds. Here is an example of a binary ionic compound, magnesium chloride. Let's take a closer look. What are binary ionic compounds? A binary ionic compound consists of two types of monoatomic ions. Ions with one charged atom negative, a metal, and a positive charged ion, a nonmetal. The metal cation is written first, followed by the nonmetal anion. The name of the metal is stated in full. The name of the nonmetal has an IDE suffix or ending. Binary organic compounds are made up of more than two ions, provided that there are only two kinds of atoms. NaClS is called sodium chloride. LiBrS is called lithium bromide. Al2O3, which is a binary ionic compound made of more than two ions, is called aluminum oxide. Have this table available for this part of the course. Follow these steps to predict a compound's formula. Determine the charges on each type of ion making up the compound. Another term for the charge on the ion is the valence. Number 2, balance the charges to determine the simplest ratio. And here is a tip. To predict the charge on the most common ion formed by each element being used, count the number of electrons that would be gained or lost to obtain a stable octet. And here's a tip. The ionic charges for most common ions of elements are shown in the periodic table. What is this? An example. The compound magnesium chloride is composed of ions, magnesium, Mg with a 2+ charge, chloride with a 1- charge. To determine the net charge of 0, the ratio of magnesium at 2+ has to be 2 times chlorine at 1-. So the formula is MgCl2. And that's what's shown in our diagram, magnesium chloride. Now let's look at magnesium oxide. Example 2. Predict the formula for magnesium oxide, a source of dietary magnesium when used as a food additive. So the charge on the magnesium ion is 2. The charge on the oxygen ion is 2-. The ratio of magnesium ions to oxide ions to produce a net charge of 0 is 1:1. So the formula is MgO. Now, let's use magnesium and chlorine, but we're going to use what's called the crisscross rule for predicting the formula of an ionic compound. Number 1, write the symbol of each element in the order in which they appear in the name of the compound. So we have magnesium and chlorine. Number 2, write the valence number, electrons lost or gained in forming an element's most stable ion, above the symbol of each element, leaving about a 1-inch space. So above magnesium, we're going to write a 2, and above the chlorine, we're going to write a 1. Now, we're going to look at the crisscross rule continued, using magnesium and chlorine. So, we're going to crisscross the valences, making them the subscripts on the element's symbols. So, we have magnesium and chlorine. Magnesium is 2, chlorine is 1. So, we're going to crisscross to get magnesium 1, chlorine 2, magnesium chloride. Now, divide the subscripts by the highest common factor. In this example, of course, it's 1, but we remove any 1 subscripts, so our final answer is magnesium chloride, MgCl2. In this example, we're going to again apply the crisscross rule to predict the formula for barium sulfide. Write the symbol of each element in the order in which they appear in the name: barium, sulfur. Write the valence number, the electrons lost or gained in forming an element's most stable ion, above the symbol of each of the elements, leaving about a 1-inch space. Crisscross the valences, making them subscripts. Divide the subscripts by the highest common factor. In this example, it is 2. Remove the 1 subscripts and we will have BAS, barium sulfide. Coming up next, transitional metals forming multivalent compounds.